Hello, and this is Big Bang Bot, and welcome to another review. Now, today I will be reviewing Rayman for the Sony PlayStation. Now, I know what you're thinking, you've reviewed this before, Big Bang Bot. Yes, I know, but that review was terrible, and I wanted to give the game the justice it deserves. Now, this game first came out. Now, the game was originally intended as a Super Nintendo game, but then it was moved to the Atari Jaguar. Then it went multi-platform. Now, despite the fact that it was originally a Jaguar game, the PS1 version came out first. And then it came out on, like, the Jaguar, and then the Sega Saturn, and MS-DOS. And then it was later ported to the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advance, DSiWare, and, yeah. There was even a port intended for the Gizmondo, but that version never came out. But after all these years, is this game still as good as it originally was? And are my opinions the same as they were in my previous review? Well, let's find out. Now, I'm too lazy to explain the story, so he's going to explain it.
You want to know what's going on? Let me tell you the story of Rayman.
See, he said it for me.
In Rayman's world, nature and people live together in peace.
Nice peaceful world, okay?
Protoon provides and maintains the harmony and balance in the world.
Okay, so that is the source of everything. Uh-oh! That's so obviously a bad guy.
Electrons who used to gravitate all around it lose their natural stability and scatter all over the world.
That's scary.
Awesome, isn't it? And untidy.
It's not, actually.
In this now unbalanced world, strange phenomena begin to occur. Freaks and hostile characters appear, capturing every electron they can find.
Ooh, that's not very nice. Look at them.
Need a hero to save them now. Don't you think?
Don't know. They look sad.
No problem.
That was brilliant acting.
And bring back the great Protoon from its mysterious kidnapper.
I thought it was Mr. Dark, you big fat liar.
Let him do it.
Ooh, Mr. Dark. He's looking a lot. Yeah. The story's not that good, just like every game I review, but I'll let it pass. It's just an average story. Oh, and those electrons do look quite depressed. I mean, just look at them! They're so cute! They look so lovely! And they look so sad! Why would anyone do such a thing? The goal is simple. All you have to do is get from point A to point B. And Rayman has that little animation. Yep. When you start the game off, Rayman only has two abilities. He can jump, and he can do a funny face which can scare off enemies. On his journey, Rayman will collect abilities that will make him progress through the game. And the fairy who got beaten up by Mr. Dark gives you them. So Rayman can gain the ability to punch, which is the most useful ability that you get. Glide, which is really useful for getting over long pits. Rayman can grab on to these hook things. which is useful for getting through parts where you need them, because, you know, you can't get over them without them. And running, which is also useful for getting over long gaps, and getting through the levels faster. Oh, and I forgot to mention that Rayman can also hang. This is just as useful as all of the other power-ups, even though I don't see why Rayman has to gain the ability to use it. There are a total of 6 worlds in this game, each with either 4 or 3 levels, with the exception of the last world, which only has 1 level. Now, I will be naming these levels by their cliche and not their actual names. These worlds are Grass World, Music World, Mountain World, Art World, and last but not least, another Cave World, not including the final world, which is Food World, because a guy named Mr. Dark would obviously hide in a place made of food. On his journey, Rayman can collect a few items along the way. There's bubbles, I'm sorry, Tiggs, which should work exactly like the coins in Super Mario Brothers. Little P icons, which I guess means power, which restore your health. Then there's big P icons, which not only restore your health, but it also gives you a maxed out 5 hit points from your regular 3. And there's extra lives, which do, well, you should know what they do. I'd like to mention that extra lives also restore your health. There's also 2 fist upgrades. There's the yellow fist, which gives you a more powerful punch, and the super fist, which gives you a longer ranged punch. And that is useful for grabbing onto those hooks. I'd like to mention that it can also give you extra lives, even though the game's not letting me collect the extra life. The guy from the intro is also here. If you give him 10 bubbles, Electoons, it will take you to a bonus stage where you have to collect a certain amount of things before the time runs out. If you win, you get an extra life. But the most important collectible of all of them are the Electoons. Dum dum dum. The reason why they're the most important collectible is because you need to free all of them to fight Mr. Dark. Now, you need to free them by punching their cage. There's 6 in each level. Some are in plain sight, but others are harder to find. In fact, some even require you to go back to the level to collect them. And in case you're wondering, there's an Electoon up there. Yep, there is. If you don't believe me, then play the game for yourself. The controls are simple. If you want to jump, you have to press X. And if you want to punch, you have to press square. And if you want to do your funny face, you have to press circle. As for all of your special abilities, other than punching, you grab onto ledges by just holding the direction of the ledge and getting near it, and then if you want to get up, you simply have to press the jump button, and if you don't want to get up, you just simply need to press the opposite direction of the ledge. If you want to glide, you need to simply press X again while in mid-air, and if you want to run, you simply need to press circle while walking, and if you want to use the hooks, you just need to press square when you come into contact with them. The controls are simple and they work just fine. The only time when I hate the controls is any times when you're on a slippery surface. It can lead to so many cheap death sometimes. And by the way, I did that on purpose. Oh, and I forgot to mention that you can duck by pressing down, but if you want to move while ducking, you need to press either the L1, L2 buttons to go left, or the R1, R2 buttons to go right. It's weird that you can't just press the direction you want to go in while holding down, but this is just an extremely minor complaint which doesn't even bother me that much. The graphics of this game are great. Just like Rayman Legends, this game has great hand-drawn animation. And yes, the style is different to Rayman Legends, but they're still both hand-drawn. And the animation is great. The game is bright and colourful, all the worlds look different, and it's just so pleasing to look at. In fact, according to the back of the box, it says there's 65,000... No, wait, wrong language. The back of the box says that there's 65,000 colours. Wow, that is quite a lot. And I've heard that the Atari Jaguar version has twice as many colours, so according to my math skills, that would make a total of 130,000 colours in the Jaguar version. Now let's move on to the soundtrack. Now this game has a great soundtrack, from the catchy and upbeat intro theme to the epicness of the fight with Mr. Scops. But if I had to choose my favourite song, it would be a draw between one of the songs in the music world. And Mr. Dark's theme. So the music is great. It's not just one theme, no, it's multiple themes. From being dark and epic to calm and sweet to just catchy and upbeat. Yes. And that's what I think of the soundtrack. Unless you're playing the Atari Jaguar version, which sounds like an annoying mess. The sound effects also depend on the version you're playing, but even more so than the music. Now, in my opinion, the version with the best sound effects is the PS1 version. But that's mainly because, well, maybe it's because I actually played the PS1 version more, but whatever. With the voices in the game, same deal, but the talking guy in the intro sounds the same in all versions. If you were to ask me what the worst version would be, that would definitely be the Atari Jaguar version. Seriously, this game does not sound good, especially in the sound effects department. This wouldn't even sound good for a Mega Drive game, but it would certainly look good for one. And there's no voice acting in the Jaguar version. I can live with that. Now, Rayman does have its flaws. Now, the most major problem this game has is its difficulty. I spoke about it tons in my original review, and I will talk about it again. This game is one of the hardest games I've ever played. If you play this game, be prepared to die. A lot. Why is this game hard, you might be asking? Well, that is something I will cover more in this review. So basically, this game is hard because there are tons of bottomless pits, very tricky platforming, enemies that are hard to hit because they're too low to the ground, which could lead to some cheap hits, enemies that take forever to kill. Look at this, I'm hitting him, yet he's not dying. Die, you big, fat rock monster. Finally! Knock back! Losing all of your tings when you die. Extra lives that don't respawn. The fact that 3 hit points is enough. Not even 5 hit points is enough. And the fact that 3 lives and 5 continues isn't enough. Thankfully, there's a code to get 99 lives, but even that doesn't seem like enough. Not even the bosses are that hard, which is actually surprising since you'd expect them to be really hard. Heck, not even Mr. Dark is that hard, and he's the final boss. But if there's one boss I hate, it has to be the second fight with Space Mama. This fight is so annoying. I absolutely hate this fight. It is so annoying. Space Mama's attacks are cheap and annoying. And trust me, 3 pieces of health is not enough, and even 5, you can still struggle, and you'll be lucky if you come here with 5 pieces of health. All I can say is that I needed the 99 lives code, not to beat her, but, well, yeah, to beat her. I only really used it so I could get more health. I needed a cheat to get more health just so I could beat this boss. This boss sucks, and it's still surprising that Mr. Dark is easier. Other than the insane difficulty, another problem that this game does have is that once you beat a boss, when you revisit the stage, you can still play through the stage, but you can't play through any parts of the level where you fight the boss. That is so annoying. Heck! When you beat Mr. Dark, you can't even play his level again. Instead, the game will show you the credits. It won't let you play the level at all. It will just show you the credits. That's all. As well as the memory card feature, it also has a password feature. But from what I'm aware, the passwords are long and they don't even work. So I recommend you use a memory card. One thing that does suck is that if you want to fight Mr. Dark and play his stage, you need to save every single Electoon. That's right, every single Electoon. There are no Electoons in the final stage, but this final stage is annoying for a final stage. I'd like to mention that this level is Dark Rayman, and if you've seen my Rayman Legends review, you should know how much I hate Dark Rayman! No matter what game he is in, he is so annoying! I lost around 13 lives in this one section trying to escape from Dark Rayman. He is so annoying! And after saving all the Electoons, dying a billion times, and beating Mr. Dark, you would expect a good ending, right? Wrong! All you get is a lousy, short ending with a few fireworks and with the top hat guy just saying a couple of congratulation things. That's all you get after all that frustration! That is so lousy! But there are good things about this game. In fact, this game is one of my favourite PS1 games. Okay, let's calm down and get a drink of water, okay? That's better. First off, this game looks and sounds beautiful. All 5 worlds look completely different to each other. There's tons of colours like I mentioned before. And overall it just looks so pretty. This game just looks so good. And also this game just sounds great. Well, at least on the CD versions. And just keep looking at me fail. And I'll just listen to this song. This is also one of my favourites. This song kind of reminds me of JonTron's theme, but that's just me. Now that, guys, is the sound of beauty. Other things I love is that the game controls just fine. I love the fact that the game makes you take advantage of the new abilities you gain, and the fact there are a few Metroidvania elements in the game that really adds replay value to the game. When, well, if you want to get 100%, which I did for the first time ever in my entire life. But possibly the best thing about Rayman is its amazing atmosphere. Rayman feels like no other game ever. This game feels completely original, different from all other games, and it does not feel like I've seen this before. No, this does not seem familiar. This game has its own charm, and it pulls off that charm amazingly by feeling completely different from every other game ever, yet still feeling fresh. And for a game made in 1995 that's a platformer, that is an accomplishment, guys. An amazing one at that. But that's enough of playing Rayman. And of course, we have to die one more time. Oh, this game is so hard. Overall, Rayman is a great game that starts a great franchise. Now, while there are a few problems, the difficulty, this game is still really good and I give it a B+. Now, if you have a PS1, you should definitely check this out. If you have a Sega Saturn, you should definitely check this out. If you have an Atari Jaguar, you can check it out, but it's different and it sounds worse, mainly because it's on a cartridge and not on the Atari Jaguar CD. But I can see why they put it on a cartridge, because Atari Jaguar CDs don't work. Now, if you want a portable version, you can download the original PS1 version on the PSN store on your PSP or PS Vita, which you may want to do if you've played this and enjoyed it. Now, if you want an easier portable version of Rayman, you could play Rayman Advance on the Game Boy Advance, or you could play the DSi version of Rayman, which are both easier games, which will be easier to appeal, mainly because they're easier versions of an extremely hard game. Now, if you want a completely different version of Rayman, you can play the Game Boy Color version. It's still good. It really is. It's quite different. It's got a few different levels. But it sounds really, really bad. Even worse than the Atari Jaguar version, which wasn't really that bad, but it wasn't good. The Game Boy Color version just sounds horrible. And just to let you know, I also own the Sega Saturn version of the game, which is complete in box. In case you're wondering what that complete in box PS1 version was, it's not mine. It was one of my sister's. Now, the Sega Saturn version does have a few differences, such as longer load times, which is why there are some effects while loading the next part of the level. And the discs look quite different. I mean, just look at the two. Just look at them. They look so different. In fact, even the backs look different, but that's mainly because of the two systems they're on. And the Sega Saturn version, on the map, the lines are blue and not red. And there are a few differences, like the menu, and that's what I have to say. Now, here's a weird thing. The Japanese Saturn version is the same as the non-Japanese Saturn version. However, the Japanese PS1 version is very different to the non-Japanese PS1 version. Not in terms of levels, but in terms of sound effects. The Saturn version also has different sound effects from the PS1 version. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed my review on Rayman on the PS1. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. This is Big Bambot signing out. I will show you the Sega Saturn version of Rayman on a later date. And I don't think I'll revisit Rayman Advance. I prefer the original Rayman now. But Rayman Advance is still there. I still own it. And it's still a portable Rayman. But now that you can download the PS1 version on the PSP and PS Vita, this is no use unless you want to play a portable version of Rayman. It's easier. But then there's the DSi version, which you can play. Okay? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. This is Big Bang Bot signing out. One more thing. Why are the track orders completely different in the PS1 and Sega Saturn version of Rayman? Why were they in another order? That is not reasonable. It's weird. But it's just a nitpick.